Mayor, speaking of guidelines, ito po serious question. I know we started the show talking about yung nag-viral ngayon about lugaw, essential ba o hindi. And as you said, it's so supremely ironic. People find it funny, but it's also supremely ironic that it has to take Malacanang to clarify something like this. I want to ask a question kasi last week, ito yung tanong namin sa PNP na as we head into the NCR Plus bubble, how can we be sure that the stricter rules and at the same time that whatever protocols will be allowed is clear to the personnel on the ground, because we see a lot of mistakes, we see a lot of potential abuses as well. Now, in fairness, yung nakita po natin sa Lugaw, this was not a case of abuse. It was a case of ignorance, maybe you could say. I also have to say this was not in Marikina. But ang tanong ko lang po is, what happens at the level of the LGU when you talk to the barangay officials? Paano po linilinaw lahat na to? Because watching the video, nakakatawa na nakakagalit. At the same time, I mean, to be fair, naiintindihan ko rin naman how some people can take the protocols and the guidelines literally. And so, how do we brief our officials on the ground, lalong-lalo na itong mga talagang may touch points sa mga kabayan natin, to make sure that things like this don't have to be a concern?
True. Policy, I think, should be given implementing rules and regulations, and it should be not only discussed but and be given to the enforcers or to the enforcement agency. But we should be able to afford them the opportunity to clarify some provisions of the policy or the things or the guidelines to be enforced. To be candid about it, Robbie, nung PECQ, that's one thing that we clarified how capable is our the enforcement agency will be to implement the policy that will be liberally construed in favor of our constituency. Baka may aabuso o kaya kung hindi man umabuso nga, sabi nga, out of ignorance of the regulation, they will not be properly implemented,
Usec, ang marami ngayong ECQ na to kasi yung Grab, di ba? Marami nagdi-deliver ngayon May ilang mga video na lumabas yung Grab, ina-apprehend ng mga pulis. Tapos yung isang lalaki nag-order, sa harap lang siya ng bahay He was apprehended for ordering food in front of his house. Ano ba talaga yung rule doon sa ganon? Sa food deliveries, nagva-violate daw ng curfew. Ang pagkaalam namin, pwede naman yung food deliveries after curfew, di ba?
Yeah, tama, Amy. Food deliveries is 24/7. This is different from last year. In fact, yung 7-Eleven, 24/7 na rin. In fact, if you compare it last year, yung ating 7-Eleven, 7 o'clock pa lang sinasara na. This is a modified type of an ECQ. We're still recognizing the fact that the economy must continue to move, and food essentials is something that is being emphasized by the economic managers when this was talked about. Kaya napayagan po ito dahil this was insisted by DTI, and we recognize DTI for insisting dahil marami ho na namang mawawala ng trabaho kundi na naman natin itutuloy itong at least sa pagkain man lamang, So the essentials for food, food as an essential was really emphasized. Kaya tuloy pa rin 24/7 delivery. And sinabi naman ho ng ating mga epidemiologists and health officials, as long as there is proper distancing and we practice minimum public health protocols in the delivery of the food by the delivery people, then we are assured that there will be no real transmission of COVID-19 during that period.
So pwede ka lumabas ng bahay mo to get your order from the Grab. Kasi yun yung nakita dun sa yung isang lalaking umorder Lumabas siya ng bahay. He was apprehended.
Nagkamali siguro yan. Again, it's a misinterpretation. Kung kukuha lang naman ng pagkain, pwede naman po. It's something very practical, and sometimes our enforcement officials are misinterpreting or overdoing it. So, yun siguro papaalalahanin lang natin sila on a regular basis.